Okay, Bill, we were talking earlier about the experimental aircraft that's sitting behind me.
Hmm.
Uh, it would take a lot of courage for me to build an aircraft and fly it.
Well, this is my third one.
Your third one.
Yeah. So I guess I qualify as a test pilot. I did the first flight on all three of them. But anyway, that's always kind of fun.
Have you ever had anything kind of happen
No,
while you're
no,
flying? It works well.
no. No, I started flying when I was 21 and I'm now 73,
Okay.
and I've never really had what you would call a serious incident.
Ah,
So, but I've had a lot of fun. All three of the airplanes I built are aerobatic,
okay, and that is.
so that means I can do loops and rolls and spins and all of that stuff.
And you're doing doing the spins and the
Yep.
rolls now.
Yep.
And,
Oh yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So how high up are you when you do these spins and rolls?
I usually get up in the neighborhood of 3 to 4,000 feet above the ground, so I got all kinds of room. You know,
Okay.
in case I mess something up and lose some altitude, I got plenty of time.
You got plenty of
But,
time.
but
I'm just noticing. Okay, so how many hours would go into building this plane?
um, this is a kit, a very well done kit. The
Okay.
skins are actually pre-cut. All the rivet holes are pre-drilled.
Okay.
They're an undersized hole, but it speeds things up a lot. So you could do this kit in probably 11 or 1,200 hours.
Okay. So
Now I have a shop at home, and it's my third one,
okay.
and I'm retired, and
Sure.
so I had it flying in 7 months,
In 7 months you
Yep,
took it. You
yep.
took it.
unpainted.
Mm-hmm. And you painted it?
I painted it right here in the hangar.
Did you do the stripes and everything?
Oh
on
yeah,
there?
I did it all.
Did it
Did
all?
the whole thing.
You know, and there's one piece that, as I'm thinking about it now, I'd like to ask you about. I notice you have a wood propeller. Are propellers generally made of wood?
No, on aerobatic airplanes though, it's common for a wood propeller.
And why is that?
Because in the process of doing the aerobatics, you've got gyroscopic precession and it flexes the prop. And
Okay.
aluminum props has a tendency to fatigue.
Okay.
Now you get somebody who's a professional aerobatic pilot, and they'll be using high horsepower, and they will be using an aluminum, what they call a constant speed prop. They can change pitch in flight,
Okay.
but they inspect them, Magnaflux and all of that stuff very often.
So an experimental airplane is different than a normal aircraft.
If you want it to be.
Okay.
Some of the experimental is a category. It's an FAA category,
Okay.
and there's quite a bit of freedom in that category. But you can build an airplane that looks just like a Cessna, and fly it like a Cessna.
Sure.
And people build bush planes, and they build, this is kind of a little rocket, and that's the type that I like.
Ah.
So all three of my airplanes have been similar to this.
Well, we'll take a look inside a little bit a little later,
Okay.
and
Sure.
just the controls, and give you an opportunity to talk about
Okay.
that. I'm impressed that you built this plane, and do a lot of people build their own planes, the experimental?
Well, you said you were over at Oshkosh. There's a lot of builders over there.
The Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Yes,
Yeah.
there's a big fly-in over there, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they had, I think there was 10,000 airplanes on the ground,
This last year.
and I think I just heard they reported like 500,000 people attended it. It's the largest air show in the world. It's the busiest airport in the world for a week, which is, yeah, it's fun. I've flown in and out a number of times, and that's really kind of fun. They're very well organized.
Okay.
They know what they're doing. And it's only actually it's only about 250 miles away.
So how long would it take to fly, as the crow flies, I guess I would say?
Well, it depends on how you do it. I usually will fly close to Oshkosh, stop and fuel up. Then I'll go into Oshkosh, and I can get back out again without having to fuel up at that busy airport.
Okay, so that's like
So-
less than an hour flight?
No, it's probably hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
And as you're flying, you're seeing woods and deer
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds of
Yeah.
wonderful things.
This
as you're
is a
looking
beautiful part of the world to live in.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's rather unique. How many pilots are there in the America, in the U.S.?
Oh, no, I don't know what the number is right now. I think it's in the neighborhood of like 600,000.
And that includes the commercial pilots
Yeah.
and everything?
There are not that many commercial pilots.
There aren't?
No. There's only, I think, like 200 airports that the airlines service. And there's like, I think it's like 11,000 airports in the United States.
So how many pilots are there?
Airline pilots?
Yes.
I couldn't venture a guess.
Okay, fair number.
It's a pretty good sized number.
And it seems to be a good profession?
It's a very good profession.
Okay.
Yeah.
The benefits of flying any place you'd like and seeing the world, I guess.
Yeah, they're well paid, and you know, they have the travel benefits, so forth, and they can only fly. I think the current rule right now, I shouldn't be quoting this on tape, but I think it's like 85 hours a month.
Okay.
Is all they can log. But they do a lot more than that. They do a lot of simulator time and things like that. So they work more than just 85 hours a month.
They're working a lot of hours.
But
Okay.
they seem to have a lot of spare time and the money to enjoy that.
That's great.
A lot of airplane owners are airline pilots.
No, you're another person that will just simply hop in a plane rather than a car to fly instead of drive.
If I can fly, I'd sure rather do that.
Okay.
Driving is so much slower, and in my opinion, it's more dangerous.
Yes.
And the flying is fun, and it's beautiful, and you get there quicker.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. I was just thinking about flying. It's when you get up and you get some turbulence kind of thing. That's one of the things that I'm not used to.
Sure.
You know, it's kind of a little unnerving, I guess I use that term. Is that really anything to be concerned about?
No, it really isn't. You know, if it's severe turbulence, it can be an issue, and you might want to avoid it. But you know, light to moderate turbulence, which would probably be enough to get your attention, is really not a problem. The airplanes are plenty strong enough for that. But think about driving on a bumpy road.
Okay.
Does that scare you?
No.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
You see?
So as you fly more, you become more
Right.
Used to
Yep.
those little things that happen.
Yeah.
It amazes me when I think of the birds and how they fly, and the falcons and the hawks can come swooping down at
Yep.
high speeds and things like that. And is that the kind of feeling that you get, or imagine yourself when
It
you're
is.
doing the loops?
It is. It is. I mean, this is a three-dimensional machine, and to fly straight and level, you know, is not using the machine to its capabilities.
It would be rather boring, I guess.
It gets boring after a while.
Okay. And
As I was learning to fly and doing more of it, I kept upgrading to faster and faster airplanes so I could travel farther. And it got to the point where it got kind of boring after a while. And I went up with an instructor, and we were in an aerobatic airplane that we had rented, and he introduced me to aerobatics, and I've never been the same since. So I really love it.
So tell me, I would like to ask you, you've worked with Miss Mamie a bit. You've seen some of her students, and I would like to capture what your impressions are of her program and what you see.
I think Mamie is absolutely amazing. What she's doing is a wonderful thing. I came to know her through our Young Eagles program, where we're trying to introduce kids to aviation, and that fit in well with what she was trying to do. So we have flown a lot of her kids, and hopefully they will go on to pursue a career in aviation.
I know that she's had some success with some of those students that she's dealt with. Some of the
Well, even if they don't go on in aviation, you know, to introduce them to this type of thing, and I'm sure that Mamie is doing all she can to steer them into other things too, so they're successful in life. And our young people need that.
So when there's different programs, you're addressing a certain population.
Right.
You're dealing with, as you mentioned, the Boy Scouts, church groups, and kids that are children or families that would like to find out more about flying if the child's interested.
Sure.
Correct?
Sure.
So that's different than Miss Mamie's program.
Yeah, she's pretty focused on her group.
Okay.
But you mentioned Boy Scouts, and we get a lot of kids from the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
But we've also flown a lot of Girl Scouts.
Oh.
Girls make good pilots, actually.
They do.
They
Yes,
do.
I'm sure they do.
They do.
Yes.
But it's interesting that I have a hard time getting the Girl Scout leaders to okay the flights.
No, why is that?
Because girls are supposed to learn how to cook and sew and that kind of stuff. They're not supposed to fly airplanes.
Oh, the girls aren't supposed to.
So there's a surprising resistance there that I've been trying to overcome.
Even, would you say that's recent kind of things?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. That's
It's pretty
interesting.
pretty general statement, I understand, but
Yes, it is.
it's been a lot harder to get Girl Scouts into the program.